The New South Wales Premier has labelled state border closures an embarrassment while addressing the Financial Review Business Summit. Gladys Berejiklian called for more courage from states and territories as the vaccine rollout reduces risk.
There was and is absolutely no reason for closing internal borders within Australia. The only time New South Wales did that was when Victoria had in excess of 180 cases per day, and because we have 55 checkpoints between our two borders. But on the notion that there may be a case here or there, it is complete overreaction. So I think we just need to accept now that at the end of 3 weeks of the vaccination, all the high-risk people have been vaccinated. It's reduced our risk. As Alan said, it doesn't mean people won't get the virus or necessarily pass it on, but the risk is massively diminished. There is no reason why internal borders should even be an issue. I think it's an embarrassment, and I use that word. I find it embarrassing within Australia. We've got great international borders at the moment, which are keeping the community safe. No excuse whatsoever for internal borders. And I agree that there should be some national consistency to give business that confidence, because now, no matter where you live, even though I tell all our citizens in New South Wales, we will always keep our borders open, you can come and go. I can't control what other states do, but what other states do impacts the decision of my citizens, or us, they're not my citizens, but the New South Wales citizens. So it impacts people's decision making when other states might react in an unpredictable way. And I think we have to provide far more certainty for business and for individuals to get on with normal life. And I also feel very strongly to Alan's suggestion that this whole notion of different definitions across the states is another level of logic that defies me. We don't have any of those systems in New South Wales because our approach is lockdowns and border closures should be the absolute last option, not the first option. So why bringing these cumbersome processes? And just one last point on QR codes. New South Wales has only had one lockdown, and that was about a year ago when we didn't really know what we were dealing with. We didn't know what we were facing with. We upped our capacity in our hospitals, but we also put our systems in place. We now have between 75 and 80% of our adult population on the Service New South Wales app, which is high penetration for a government within 12 months. And we've already had about 120 million touch-ins of the QR codes, one consistent code for all of the state. And that has really supported our efforts. When you build the systems, you don't need to rely on those other ad hoc measures which hurt business, hurt citizens, and don't give us the opportunity we need. Don't get me wrong, Australia's doing very well in responding to COVID, but imagine the economic opportunities for us moving forward and the freedom of our citizens if we just assess risk in a reasonable way, as banks do and airlines do, assess risk, so should governments. And when you've vaccinated a large chunk of people who are high risk of getting the virus, well, then you do need to consider what is next in terms of easing restrictions and even considering beyond Australia's borders what that means in the future.